talk about the concept of a broadcast domain, and how it's different from a collision domain. So, a broadcast domain is just simply a group of devices that communicate with each other via broadcasting of information at a data link layer. So, devices that can communicate with each other in such a way that when one device broadcasts information to reach different nodes, and all those nodes get the information, those devices that communicate in that manner are going to belong to one broadcast domain. Okay, so this happens at the data link layer. So now you should be aware that unicasting information or unicast processing of data on a network just simply means node-to-node communication. That means one node sends information to one node, and maybe this other node sends information to another node. That is what unicast transfer is. Then if you talk about broadcasting, broadcast means one node communicates to many other nodes. Okay, so this means one node will send data to all these nodes that are connected to it. Okay, so this is what broadcast is, and this is what multicast is. Okay, so apart from that, we need to talk about routers in the concept of network collisions. We see how a router works. So with a router uses IP addresses to identify devices and send packets or route packets. So this one forwards packets using IP addresses on a network. Okay, so you need to understand that a router separates collision and broadcast domains. Separates collision domains. Separates collision domains on local area network and wide area network. So it could be in an office where you have one router and all your phones and computers are plugged to this router. Okay, this is a LAN. So in this case, the router is able to separate collision domains, but you could have a case where you have a router and a router here. Okay, you have a node, 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 you have another node like this. Okay, so maybe you say there's a switch here, or you just use a switch and then you put one router here. Switch connects to a router, switch connects to a router. So this is one LAN, this is LAN 1, this is LAN 2. All together they make a what? They make a wide area network, but all in all, still the router here will be able to separate the collision domains of these devices here in the same network. Okay, so this is what network collisions are about. It's about understanding how packets what happens when packets collide on a network, and how different networking devices handle collisions in a network. Do they use a collision domain? Do they use a broadcast domain? And in that regard, how do they separate ports? How do they separate the collision domains for them to function properly without packets colliding when information is being transferred on the network? So this concludes the topic of network collisions.